Glad you could join the Q&A today with Innovators and hashtag Black Steam. I'm Gerard. Let's get inspired. Welcome, everybody. My name is Gerard Buckner with the Mortgage Institute for Research, in part on the outreach team in the Discovery Building. Today, we are going to be having a conversation with Darian Wilson, creator of Black People Know Things Trivia. As we dive in, please feel free to use the hashtag Black Steam Innovators on all social platforms. We plan on, touching base and having a conversation through that hashtag. And if you have any questions specifically for Darian, we will for sure be able to get those questions to him and be able to touch base with y'all. All right, with that being said, welcome, Darian. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here. It's a happy Friday. The weather, I don't know what the weather's like in Wisconsin. It's very cold in Denver today. So nice to just be inside and, chat with an old friend.
Yeah, we are actually going through, I guess, somewhat of a polar vortex happening. So mad cold, not necessarily like the negative 40. I think you witnessed the negative 40 before you left. But more just like in the negatives all week for the most part. And it's been snowing like crazy this year. So it's been cool. But yeah, like you said, it is really good to touch base with you again as an old friend. Audience, Darian and I used to play Ultimate Frisbee together. So that's our connection. And always, just like myself, in the education field, things like that. So actually, let's kind of start off from there. Like, where are you originally from? And yeah, what do you have going on now?
So I'm originally from Denver, where I live now. Like most people, I don't tell people most people that because I was born in Denver, but I didn't live there very long. I lived there for like a year or two, and then I moved from Denver to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that's where I claim to be from. I claim to be from Milwaukee. That's where I feel like I was raised, where I grew up. I lived in Milwaukee from the age of like 3 all the way until 22 when I moved to Madison. So Milwaukee is where my heart lives. So currently I live in Denver, Colorado. I'm a behavior management. The official title is restorative process coordinator, but it's a lot of behavior management at a Cole Arts and Science Academy out here in Denver elementary school.
Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure the audience wants to know, are you Bucks or Nuggets?
Oh, Bucks all day. I got
Packers
one Nugget that I got before I even moved to Denver. I got one Nuggets hat, but I got like 15 Bucks hats. I got a Brewers tattoo on my back. I'm Milwaukee all the way.
And Packers or Broncos?
Packers.
Okay, cool. Well, audience, he's cool. We'll give him a round of applause.
That in the playoffs.
Awesome, cool. And then, like you kind of talked about, you like working in the education field. Obviously, today we're talking about your trivia that you started. What was the inspiration in starting this trivia?
Yeah, so I actually at the start of the pandemic, like I want to say maybe June of last year, my wife's old roommate from Madison was like, "Hey, we're doing this virtual trivia night. You guys should just join in. We just got to get on Zoom and do trivia with us." And we were like, didn't have anything to do. We're starting to get a little stir crazy. It's right when everything started shutting down. So we were getting stir crazy, and we were like, whatever, let's go do this trivia. Let's see what it's all about. And like, it was cool. So it was it was based out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I don't remember the guy who ran it, but it was like a virtual trivia night, and it was like really cool and like a lot of good questions. And I was like, I just remember thinking like this would be dope if somebody did this, but like specifically catered to Black people. Like the trivia, I enjoy doing trivia. Like Madison is famous. Like they have a lot of trivia nights, a lot of like pub trivia, like all over the city. And I used to go to trivia nights in Madison, from time to time, but none of them felt really like Black friendly or Black focused. Like, they might have like a hip hop themed round from time to time, or, a Black question sprinkled in. But I was like, it'd be really dope if someone did this for just like the questions being all about Black people, Black-centric, with a Black host. I recently hired like a DJ to like play music during it, a Black DJ, Black co-host, and just try to make it like, like Issa Rae, all rooting for everybody Black, and try to just make the Blackest trivia that I could possibly think of. And that was really the inspiration. It kicked off. So I had that trivia night in June with a guy from Charlotte. And then I did my first unofficial like trial run at trivia in July.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't go well. It was lot of tech issues and a lot of stuff that like I just thought like, oh, I could just get on a stream and like do trivia and like not got to worry about everything else. And it was a mess. And so I learned very quickly that it was a multi-step process, and it's been building and building, and it's been a lot of fun. It's been one of my favorite things that come out of the pandemic. There's not a lot of good things that have come out of the pandemic, but this has been one of mine. Because I know for me, I don't know about everybody else, but I was really struggling in the pandemic because like being stuck inside, like being in Denver, where all of my friends basically still live in Wisconsin or have moved elsewhere. So like I have my wife and my kids, but we were just trapped in our like 1-bedroom apartment, just like stuck, not seeing anybody, not going anywhere. And so I really created it as a like one to do the trivia, but also as just a way to connect and build community with people while we're stuck in the pandemic. Because hopefully people aren't going outside and partying. I know they are, but hopefully more people are choosing to find ways to entertain themselves at home. And I just wanted to offer a place where Black people could build some community and have a good time while still being safe from this pandemic we're in.
That's super dope. And it took me a minute to actually come across you doing that. And when I came across, I was like, what? Because like all the things that you talked about, one, the stress of being in the house, and just like not the uncertainty of like what to do. And like I think that drives people to go outside and take the risk because there's nothing to do. And then the other part you talked about was like the trivia piece, is that yeah, especially here in Madison, trivia is large. You can just go to about every bar and pub, and they probably have some type of deal with Barstool Sports and all that stuff. And I like I enjoy doing it because my coworkers enjoy doing it. But like every time I go, I like have a drink and I'm sitting in the corner because like I never feel like
there to like be with friends, but I'm not like engaging with the trivia usually.
exactly right, because I don't know anything. There was
Right.
like one time where I did trivia and they asked about a Black college, and I was like, I'm like I got this.
Yeah.
But
Unless
after
it
that,
sports related, I was no help at trivia in Madison. Sports, I got you. Everything else, I'm gonna just sit back and drink my drink.
exactly. And kind of continue talking about the business and how you started it. You mentioned starting it in June, so obviously this is from COVID, and this was an inspiration from COVID. So like, what has been the turnout? Like, you said the first time went sour, but since then, like, how have you been able to adjust and keep people interested during this COVID times?
Yeah, I think the big part for me is just having as much fun as possible. Like, I think a lot of people, when they think of Black history or they think about Black trivia, it's not always like positive and fun. A lot of it is, they talk about slavery, they talk about Jim Crow and like the civil rights movement, but there's a lot of amazing things that Black people have done, a lot of funny things that Black people have done. So my main focus is to always balance like serious, like my unofficial slogan for the trivia night is the questions range from the serious to the hilarious. That's like the unofficial slogan, because I always try to balance out like, yeah, we can have some hard hitting questions about slavery or about, revolutionary people who have been, or people who have been shot and killed by police. But we also balance that out with trying to have fun questions and like encourage people to have just conversations in between the questions. Because it's not like a lot of people think of, when they think of Zoom or they think of trivia, they think of like school or work where, you're on mute, you're just like sitting there, maybe your camera's off, you're not engaging. And I encourage people to engage the whole time. Like, keep your mic on. I give bonus points if you make a funny comment. Like, even if, and people have like gotten really into that, where like we can have serious like questions that are like maybe aren't funny, and then people like make a funny comment or make like a side remark, and I'm like, that's a bonus point because that was hilarious. And so for me, I think the whole point is just being relatable and being accessible. And so we started the first night, I did like a closed opening where like I literally invited like 10 people that I like knew that would give me feedback. Like, it wasn't like a public thing. I was like, I just want 10 of my friends to like come check it out. And like everyone was like, the questions were good, like you're a good host, and like things were funny. But the first one just had like a lot of tech issues. Like I didn't really have a system for collecting the answers, and people would say the answer out loud and like ruin the question. So I didn't really have a system for that. And then I also tried it on Twitch, which I realized very quickly that my very basic Wi-Fi router cannot handle streaming on Twitch.
Mm.
So that was part of the issue. And then I converted it to Zoom, and then, started opening it up to more people and like putting it public, and then creating the Facebook page, creating the Instagram page, creating a Twitter page, and then trying to like build people to come. So it's really word of mouth. Like, I think the second one that I had where that was open to people, we had like 15 people show up, and then we had like 20 people the third time. And then the biggest one I think we had was the Kwanzaa one, which was in December. We did a Kwanzaa edition that had, I think, like 28 or 29 people. So right now we're averaging about 20-ish people most nights, which is probably more than enough. We do encourage people, like I pay for a premium Zoom account just for this. So I can have up to 100 people, and our goal is to get people to be on teams. So it's not, 20 individual people submitting answers. And I think that's going to be a big push going forward, is just putting people in teams, even if they like, because, we want to build that community. We want people to talk and engage with each other and maybe build relationships across state lines during this pandemic, across country lines. We had someone last month that was just, it was the funniest thing. She was like, I found you on Instagram. Someone like reposted you. I found you on Instagram. I live in Canada and I'm trying to learn more about Black American history. And she's like, she's like, I don't want to play. I just want to like hang out. And I was like, that's cool. Like, you don't have to play. I'm glad you're here. And so it's really just getting people to show up, building that word of mouth, and then just having a good time. And I think that's my main focus. Like, if you learn something, great. If you win, even better. But I really just want people to come and hang out and talk and crack jokes. And so it's been pretty awesome. And I think my eventual goal is, when the pandemic ends, is to like find a place in Denver to do this in person, maybe even do like one in person in Denver, or one like virtual still, so people that aren't in Denver can participate as well. Because I really enjoy it. I'm like, Draw knows that I used to do like a lot of poetry slams in the city and like hosting events at the Goodman Center up in Madison. And like, I missed hosting things too. So it was like a nice way to like build this community and also do something I enjoy doing, which was hosting events and build a community with people. So it's been a lot of fun, and hopefully it'll just keep growing. And the next one, the one this month, is on my birthday, so even it's going to even be a little bit more fun, I think.
Yeah, let's tap into that. So when is the next one, and how do we access it?
Yeah, so the next one is on Thursday, February 25th. It starts at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, which is in Madison, 8 p.m. We host it through Zoom, but I have a Twitter account, I have a Facebook account, we have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, an Instagram page. The Facebook page is Black People Know Things, all spelled out, the full words. And then the Instagram and the Twitter page are a shortened, condensed version, which is Black People Know Tings, but it's BLK PPL No Tings, TINGS. So that's where you can find the information. I will say I'm definitely more active on Instagram and Facebook than Twitter, mainly because Twitter does not integrate as well with Facebook as Instagram does. So like, I have to like create a whole new post whenever I want to share something on Twitter, which I got to get better at, because I need Black Twitter to get more involved in this, because I think that's when it's going to hit its peak, is when Black Twitter gets involved. But definitely check out our Instagram. One thing we've been doing this month is every day of the month, I'm posting a new, like, a person in Black history and doing like a brief profile on them. And then that is also on our Facebook page. And I just created the event link today, actually this morning. So you can find the event link on our Facebook, our Instagram, or our Twitter. And yeah, I'm expecting it to be a good time.
And we'll probably touch base right after our call or whatever, but we will be sure to add all those links in the correct spelling on the posts, wherever you guys may view this video from. So one main thing I got to know, is there going to be a Steam selection for this upcoming one?
So for February, I typically do about 4 to 5 rounds. I think we're condensing down to 4 rounds, because my goal is I never want this to last more than an hour and a half, unless people just want to like hang out and kick it afterwards. Like, that's always cool. But like, I want the trivia to not go longer than an hour and a half. And we've gotten into like a little bit over that. So we're trying to like cut it down a little bit. So we're going to cut our 5th round. So now there's going to be 4 rounds going forward. The round themes are always the same. The first round is always history. The second round is always music. The third round is television and film. And then the 4th round is majority wins, which is basically like we give you 4 options to a question, and whichever one gets the most votes is declared the winner. It's like, you know, I call it the barbershop round, where we debate and we discuss and we try to turn people onto our side of the answer. So this month for the history round, it is Black inventors and scientists is the theme for the history round this month. So there'll be 6 questions, all about famous Black inventors and scientists.
That's what I love about your Instagram page is that it's super interactive, and I think that's like what businesses need to, you know, keep the business going, I guess you could say. And yeah, you also give, you know, hints and stuff about the questions you're gonna ask. So y'all definitely should join on the Instagram page if you're not. So like you kind of already touched based on this, talking about you know, being in trivia and not really being able to ever hear anything about you. Like, what does it mean for you to be Black and to lead something like this?
I just think that, one, I'm a firm believer, and I tell people this all the time, that I think Black people just kind of make everything better. Even the things they didn't create, they just tend to make better. Like, my favorite thing in the world is Black TikTok right now. Like, I didn't get into TikTok at the start because I was like, nah, that's for kids. And then my 5th graders, I made a deal with them that if they all showed up the last week of school, if they showed up every day for all the 5th graders, that I would join TikTok. And that was our deal. And then they all showed up because they love to. They do like a TikTok of the day in their 5th grade class. It's like a big thing at my school. And so I created a TikTok, and then I'm like, dude, all the Black content creators on YouTube, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, I just think they just make things like, it's easier for me to relate to things when I see people who look like me that are doing them. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of saw like a void for that for trivia. Like, I know, and there's a lot of like awesome like Black trivia games, like board games and card games that have come out in the recent like 3 or 4 years. There's like Black Card Revoked that has come out recently. Culture Tags is a new one that I really enjoy, which is basically like, they sell it at Target. I think it's like one of Target's like new pushes to get like Black vendors into Target. But it's basically a game where they give you like an acronym, and you have to guess what the acronym stands for, and it's all like phrases or songs or lyrics from like Black culture. Mm-hmm. And there's just so much of that content being put out like in board games and card games, but nothing that's really been done live, at least to my knowledge. It might exist, but there's none in Denver that I know of, and I know there's not any in Madison, which are the 2 places that I'm most connected with besides Milwaukee. And Milwaukee is just a whole nother thing. They got a bunch of stuff going on in Milwaukee. So it's one of those things where I find a lot of pride in Black history. I went to school to be a history major. That's what I went to college for. I wanted to be a history teacher with a minor in African American studies. Being born in February, I've always felt like an odd connection to Black History Month itself. And so I mean, I just love being Black. It's like my favorite part of my identity is being Black. And so I take a lot of pride in sharing these facts and like doing research myself on stuff that I may have not known about. Like, I tell people all the time, like, my goal is to get more stuff from the diaspora into this trivia, because I got a lot of the Black American history down, but I want to learn more about like African history. I want to learn about more history, like the Africans in Europe and Spain and even Italy. Like, I want to build more of that like into my knowledge base that I can share with people. And so the end goal is like, I hope people have fun, but I hope you walk away with like, I learned a new fact today, or I learned one new thing today at trivia. And I think if we could do that, you know, we can stop this erasure of positive Black history and positive Black culture. Because every year, like we saw it in Madison with that Sun Prairie thing at the school with the, how would you discipline your slave if you caught them doing something wrong? Like, we need to get out of that narrative that Black history is just sad and dark and depressing, because there's been so many great things that Black people have done. And I just want to shed a little light onto that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's beautiful. I love that you said that, because didn't even think about that. But yeah, when we do talk about Black history, it's either one, the repetitive folks that we always hear about, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, the whole nine, we all know. And then also outside of that, it's like, yeah, it's always like the sad history, but there's so many people out there that's done so many cool, great things back then and even now. And that's actually the motivation in behind doing our Black History / Saturday Science event this month and having this conversation with you, to be able to highlight those things and be able to change that narrative. You actually inspired me to wear my sweater today. My sweater said, "Blacker to college, sweeter the knowledge." And you know, a lot of people, I think about even the sweater, when people see the sweater, they immediately like drive to HBCUs, which yeah, it is partly about HBCUs, but it's also about like just changing the culture wherever you're at, like, you know, blacking it up, or you know, just seasoning up a little bit more about who you're around, what you're doing, or who's working in those spaces. So I just want to say thank you for the inspiration, because I ain't worn this sweater in a while. So you know, if people, you know, wanted to create like create a trivia around, you know, something else, or even somewhat the same thing, like what advice would you have for those folks?
I would just say go for it. I mean, if you have a passion for it, like when I started this, I was like, oh, this will be like 3 months and then it'll flame out. Like no one, like this will be cool for like the summer, and then people will go back to work in the fall, and then it'll kind of like die off. And people have just like asked me about it. Like I recently did like a 6-month like review thing where I sent out like a survey to people who have come before and just be like, I just want you to give me your honest feedback and opinions. And people were just like, dude, please do this more often. We love it. Like, you have a great thing going. And so if you have a passion for something, and it's something that I need to work on, like this was part of like that. It was like a passion project for me. It was like, I don't know if anyone's going to like this, but I like, if you don't try, you never know. So I would just recommend just going for it. Like making sure you have your, you know, maybe start off a little bit easier than I did. Don't hit your head so much with tech issues and like not knowing how to like do Google Sheets and Google Forms and all that stuff. But I would say just if you have something that you are knowledgeable about and that you're passionate about, I would say just go for it and tell your friends about it, see what they think, get some feedback, and just throw it out there, because you never know. Like I when I started it, I was like, all right, there's gonna be like 10 people that come to this. And now, you know, 6 months in, our Facebook page has about 300 followers. Our Instagram page is up over about 200 followers. And I think the goal is to just keep growing. And even if it doesn't stay a trivia night, even if it just stays like a Facebook page or a Twitter page, like the knowledge and the passion for it is what's most important. You know, I could post about Black history all day. I probably do on my regular Facebook page anyway. And so just, you know, creating something where other people can find it that may not be in your circle, creating the opportunities to build community with other people. Because like I said, the person from Canada who joined last month was just like, I didn't think we were reaching international waters. You know, I thought we were just, you know, I had some people in Milwaukee, some people in Madison, some people in Denver that attended. And now like we're starting to build, like I think last month we had someone from DC that attended. We had someone from Canada that attended. We got a business owner in Missouri that just like started showing up because she like found us on Instagram. So you never know who you can reach. You know, you may think you're the only person who has some weird passion or some like a passion project, and people might fall in love with it. So I would just say go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, what advice do you have for somebody you inspire, but you kind of already spoken to that. So unless if there was another quote that you got that's inspiring, then I think we good for today.
I think, man, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate what y'all are doing. And going back a little bit, talking about, you know, the positive influences, I think STEAM, like one, we've all heard it for years now, that STEAM is the wave of the future. Science, technology, engineering, math. The art part is hit or miss depending on what your art is. But those are the things that are creating jobs. Those are the things that are creating lifelong careers. And I really appreciate what y'all are doing to put out that this is not only like, you know, a white, Asian, like, you know, what am I trying to say? Career choice or field. Like this is something that Black people have had a huge hand in STEAM. That's something that like when I was creating the round this month for, you know, scientists and inventors. Like there's stuff that I didn't even, like I knew, like, you know, there's a few, like you always know about, you hear about the traffic light, the gas mask and things like that. But, and, you know, George Washington Carver, you hear about those people, but there's like people that have created stuff that we use every single day, voicemail, you know, the fax machine. If you work in a school like I do, they still use fax machines all day. Like there's everyday stuff that we're using, GPS, that were invented or created by Black people. The GIF, however you pronounce it, was invented by a Black woman, and people use that every day. It's like my favorite thing on the internet is GIFs and memes. And so there's just so much possibility in this field, and we're just waiting for people to step up to the plate. And a big part of that is just having the availability to it. So I appreciate y'all for putting that effort into letting people know that there are Black inventors and Black scientists and Black creators who have done amazing things, and inspiring people to be those next things. Because we got enough rappers, we got enough NBA players, we got enough athletes. We're starting to build more teachers, but we need people that are in science, that are creating access for more people like us to get into that field. So I really appreciate y'all putting that effort out, because I don't know a lot of people that are like, and you know, especially in Madison where it's needed. You know, the racial inequities in Madison are so large. Like people, when I moved to Denver, people were like, "Oh, are you familiar with the race to equity report in Madison?" And I was like, "Yes." Like Madison is like famous for their racial inequities, which is awful. Yeah. But at the same time, y'all are trying to do your part, and so I just really appreciate y'all. Appreciate y'all having me, and I think that's it.
Yeah, well, awesome. I appreciate the praise. You almost made me cry. But but no, I appreciate it. And this is, you know, this as we do it, you know, so we also want to connect with those creators too, because we also want to be able, because I can go into a classroom and I can talk to a group of students all that I want, but at the end of the day, they're going to ask me, you know, point me to the people that are doing it. And, you know, you are going to be one that I can point to, and others around the city of Madison, and obviously outside of Madison, that to help our students travel amongst all, you know, nationwide or, you know, statewide, whatever case may be. So yeah, thank you for your time. I definitely appreciate it. If I remember correctly, February 25th, right?
February 25th, 8 p.m. Madison time.
Okay. And we're going to dive in and have some fun with trivia. So is there, actually thinking about that, is there a max amount of people that can be in the call?
So my Zoom account lets 100 people in the call. So 100 would be kind of crazy for me. I wouldn't be prepared for 100, but the more the merrier. Because we'll definitely put people in teams and we'll get people communicating. And one thing I want to make clear, and this is, you know, I just want to put this out there. This is an inclusive space. Yes, it is Black-centric. It is made for Black people, but everyone is welcome. We love for y'all to come out and just enjoy. But just know that it is Black focused. It is Black-centric. Most of the people that attend are Black. And so, you know, just come and learn either way. No matter what, come learn, come have a good time, and just, you know, yeah, just kick it. That's what we're here for. Trying to connect and build bonds while we're all still stuck in the house for who knows how much longer. So,
awesome. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a good note. Well, y'all heard it. Audience, thank you for joining us today. As you know, it's only 100 max. So if you are interested in learning about Black culture and things of that nature, get in and sign in soon. We'll be sure to put the links and stuff of social medias and all that stuff below. So be ready to join in, and we hope to run it up to 100. So Darian, you better be ready for us to come through, because we're gonna come.
I'll be ready. We'll be ready for whoever shows up.
Awesome. Well, again, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for being vulnerable with us and taking the time out of your day outside of your main job and doing this with us. For those at home, thank you for joining in and listening to the conversation and learning more. And if you are interested in learning more about what's going on, or you have any comments, questions, concerns, you know, please feel free to use the hashtag #BlackSTEAM Innovators. And yeah, that's it. Everybody enjoy the rest of your day.